Here's an exercise demonstration video for the broad jump. The broad jump is one of my favorite exercises because it requires all the muscles of your body and a very synchronized organization of movement for the maximum jump distance. One of my favorite tests for individuals to see their current capacity is to do what we call the 3 jump test, and it will be 3 broad jumps in a row. As soon as you land, you're immediately rebounding for the next jump, and we measure your total distance for the 3 jumps. Now, ideally, in a powerful athlete, we're going to see them jump a far distance, land, and immediately rebound using some of their captured landing energy as propulsion for their next jump. That's an advanced movement and it can take some time to develop, so the 3 jump test is a great way to determine how much development you need to do. When we're doing the broad jump, we're looking for 2 things. Number 1, the proper sequence of movement for the maximum distance, and then a nice quiet landing where we're absorbing the landing forces with our muscles rather than with our joints. So here's an example of the broad jump. Lining up at the back of my space here, I'm going to try to jump to the far side. So make sure that you have clear space when you do this one. You can use your arms for swing and use them as a way to propel your body forward. But once you land, make sure it's a nice quiet landing. Now, don't know how quiet that sounded here in our space, but remember what we don't want to do is land with a really shocking force where our joints are absorbing all of that energy. Instead, once our feet hit the ground, we can decrease the bending speed of our joints in order to land and to soak up some of that force. Basically using that force across your joints controlled by your muscles rather than jarring into the joints. So let's watch it again here, the broad jump. Swing the arms, land quietly. And I want to just stick the landing right there, feet very active. As you're doing the broad jump, focus on distance and that quiet landing. Okay. One more thing to think about in your broad jump is the sequence of movement. So if I'm doing a shorter jump here, just going forward from here, if I bend over, I want to make sure that I keep my whole foot flat on the floor, my knees are above my ankles, and I swing my arms back, but they're going to be my pendulum. So as my arms swing forward, they start to displace some of my weight. If I did nothing, I would just fall because my center of gravity is already starting to move forward. That's what our arms do for us. They start to move our center of gravity forward before we've even expressed the power of our legs. So if we do a vertical jump, we use our arms in this vertical propulsion because that's the direction we want to go once our legs are creating that power in their straightening. Since we're doing the forward motion of the broad jump, I want my arms to move me this way and to already be loading my center of gravity forward before my legs do that explosive straightening out in order to propel me forward. So hinge over, keep the feet on the floor, dynamically swing the arms, and when they've gone the way you want to go, your legs should trigger to follow into that jump. And what I can hope that you see in that moment is that as we're jumping our way across, we should see this full extension, a straightening of the body. Now, of course, we're leaning forward as we're taking that forward motion, but the full extension of the hip is what's critical for the power in the broad jump. So if you want to create a lot of distance, you'll want to make sure you get that arm swing, you get that timing, and then you find this position where the entirety of your body's in that straight line. Of course, I just have my foot for support, but we want to jump with that explosive popping of the hip. That's really the athletic hip that we so desire. Keep in mind that quiet landing means the feet have hit the ground and the joints are bending to absorb rather than jarring to try to resist that. You can do that, but make sure you don't plunge down too deep into the bottom of your squat. So once you've landed on the ground, we don't want to see you come all the way down like this. So we've lost the back and we're putting more load on the knees in that landing position. Try to stay in kind of the top third or the top half of the squat once your feet have hit the ground. All right, hope this exercise demonstration video is useful for you. And if you're curious, go out and do a 3 jump test, 3 broad jumps in a row, back to back to back, measure your total distance, and send me a message because I'm always curious to know what people are capable of achieving on that 3 jump test. Give it a try, let me know how it goes. And keep me in mind when you're doing these exercise techniques in the future.